It is very nice to greet you again. In today's video we will talk about the following. Can someone who lost their feelings come back? It is possible for someone with lost feelings to return after a breakup. However, the likelihood of that happening will depend entirely on how you handle the breakup, how close you were in the relationship, and the reasons behind the breakup. Obviously, this is a very complicated topic, so I want to approach it in many different ways. 1. Is it normal to lose feelings in a relationship? Yes, it is normal for feelings to fluctuate in a relationship. Love and relationships are dynamic, not static. It is common for people to go through periods where they feel less connected or less in love with their partner. This can be due to a variety of factors such as stress, changes in life circumstances, or the natural progression of a relationship from the honeymoon phase to a more stable, long-lasting love. It's really that honeymoon period factor that I want to harp on. This is what neurochemicals do at the beginning of a relationship. Notice that dopamine is high. Norepinephrine is high. Serotonin is high. Oxytocin is elevated. This is particularly relevant because when all of these chemicals are trapped in this elevated state, the honeymoon period is in effect. That magical moment when you're on cloud 9 and you think your ex can't be wrong. But everything that goes up must come down. If your ex has convinced himself that he loves you during the honeymoon period, he may feel as if he is no longer in love with you when those chemicals begin to stabilize. As I said at the beginning, there are many reasons why people break up. If you look at the core wound of a person ending a relationship, it is often a loss of independence. Now, does that necessarily mean that every person who says they're no longer in love with you and eventually comes back claims space as the reason? No. But when you consider the fact that most ex-partners tend to veer more toward avoidant attachment styles, it makes sense. 2. What are the main signs that your ex who's lost feelings will return? Let's move on to the main signs that your ex who has lost feelings is coming back. Now, ultimately, there are 4 main things I think you should pay attention to. Sign number 1, I found an excuse to hang out together. He found an excuse to hang out together. So, she says one thing, but in the end she did something else. In fact, he finds a way to hang out with you. For someone who specifically avoids, the best type of in-person interaction is something that won't be interpreted as romantic. And the reason is quite simple. Romantic dates have romantic connotations. Instead, going to a meeting or something that is considered not very romantic but can be interpreted as a decent time together is the way to go. Not particularly romantic, but it allows conversations to develop. Sign number 2, showcase your social media posts directly. One of the most important things we always recommend after a breakup is to get into the habit of posting on social media. Now, this doesn't mean that you do it all the time if you've never posted on social media before, but what it does mean is that you slowly start to increase the frequency. The reason this is important is that, especially after a breakup, we often believe that, especially if we are discarded and your ex says, "Hey, I'm not in love with you anymore, I've lost feelings for you." We have this internal belief that she is no longer interested in what we are doing. Sign number 3, your ex mentions the relationship a lot. One of the things I always tell them, especially when they're in these in-person meetings, is to try to avoid really emotional conversations about the breakup itself. It's okay to include small conversations about the relationship or good memories of the relationship, but generally speaking, you don't want to generate super negative thoughts about the breakup itself. Sign number 4, be happy with yourself, no matter what. We found that most ex-partners have anxious attachment styles, which makes them more likely to have more codependent tendencies. And when you feel good about your surroundings despite everything, usually when you do that, you become more attractive not only to your ex but also to other potential suitors. It's what most people neglect because they think it's not a sexy thing to talk about. It's not like you can text your ex and immediately get this cool response. It's hard work and it never ends. You just need to continue. It's an endless search. But it's what works best. You are an essential part of what we do on this channel. For this reason, we keep an eye on what you need, and if it is your desire to recover your ex correctly and effectively, you must click on the link below.